on my recording. So somebody has to be responsible for asking, Dr. Smith, did you turn on your recorder every session? Because if we don't, I won't get it recorded. Okay, so let me go ahead and start officially now. The time is 11:08 a.m. and at 11:08, yes, you can come in. At 11:08, we'll go ahead and start. The date is 8/26/2019. This is the first and regularly scheduled class of ITSE 2309, broadcasting live and direct from beautiful downtown Frisco, or at least in Frisco, at the Preston Ridge campus. And we are in room 133. If you are just looking at your where the class meets, if you haven't found us and want to find us, we are not the schedule gives it as room 123, but that was a mistake in the schedule. It's 133 in Heritage Hall. Let's see. A couple of things here. SQL. This is our screen, the home screen for the class, ITSE 2309. It says, mine says WW1, yours might say P01, because I have the classes merged, so I just see one class. Let's see, there's a syllabus here. The link to the syllabus, I think, works. Does it work? Yes, it worked. And so I think I've sent that out. So it's a Word document, and it's got the up-to-date information in it. If you look at it here, the real course syllabus, the very first page says the real course syllabus, what you really need to know. No, this isn't the right one, is it? This says summer. Okay. Okay, I'll get that syllabus updated on Canvas right away. It's essentially the same thing. Your instructor does not initiate drops. Just because you disappear and quit coming to class does not mean you are dropped from the class. Important dates, the exercises have due dates. Okay, I say the due date, that's the date that you kind of should be getting it turned in. If you don't turn it in by that date, you do not need to kill your grandmother. It's fine. Just look, what you look at is the cutoff date, the until. That is typically a week past the due date. So I allow you to the due date, but if you don't get it turned in on the due date, there is no penalty for it. Okay. Now I'll grade it sometimes after the due date. If you get it in by the due date, I will get it back to you before the cutoff date, meaning that if there's something wrong with it and you need to fix it, you'll have time to make some corrections and resubmit it before the cutoff date. If you go right up to the cutoff date and then something's wrong with it, well, something's wrong with it. Okay, so due dates are soft. Due date is just for your information. It's when you should be finishing it. The cutoff date, I say, is okay, 2 weeks. It's usually 2 weeks after the due date, and one in the summer. Okay, so in the regular session, it'll be 2 weeks past the due date that I give you. Now, it doesn't mean that you run it out that long. It's not a good idea because you're behind. If you don't make the due date, you're a little behind, but that's okay. We can work with it. So then the cutoff date. I have to have the cutoff date, because if I don't, everybody will hand me all of their work on the last day of class, and it's really a problem. There is a census date. I'm going to have to look up that census date. and see what it is, make sure that I get it in there. That's the one, that's the important one, because that census date, you have to have turned in something by then. But there's a couple of real easy little quizzes, you know, what is your name, what is your quest, what is your favorite color kind of quizzes. I just want you to do something that I can see and that gets graded. And once I have something turned in that I can see in my grade book, that's any of those quizzes. I think there's one over the syllabus. That's when will your instructor drop you? And the answer is never. Then you've done something. So now you're officially in the class, and that census date is important. Canvas gradebook is set such that it does not count late assignments as 0. This is because I don't want students pestering me. When are you going to grade my stuff? Because I might, if you've gone right up to the cutoff date, I might not grade it right away. Doesn't make any difference to me, really. So with Canvas, it's not important that I stay right on top of the grading. That's why I allow you to turn in stuff late with no penalty. Back in the old days, I had to keep track of all your work. So if you came and handed me an assignment that was late, that meant that I had to carry around a filing cabinet essentially and put it in the right sheaf, and everything would always get in the wrong one. And then when I wanted to sit down and grade, I had to go through all these papers. With Canvas, I don't have to do that. It goes to its right box automatically. It's nice, and it allows me to be a little more flexible. I record the audio and the screen share of my lectures. I don't record pictures of me. If you are attending remotely, you do not have to turn on your video. It's okay if you don't. I don't have one here. If I'm at home recording, I will typically turn on my this personal meeting ID. Make a note of that one. It's hi, come in. If you are not here and you want to attend the class, meaning be physically in attendance, if you use that meeting ID, you are here as far as I'm concerned. So those students that you saw listed up there a minute ago, well, they're here. You just can't see them. They're, well, here, they can talk. That's why I got the, sometimes I put it out over the room speaker. I don't remember whether I've turned that on now or not. Yes, this is summer session, so these times are wrong. Check the course announcements daily, even if you are online or whatever, because you can be here in this room right now and still be in the online class. Some students are. Some students will tend to go back and forth. It's okay, you may. Okay, so just because you're here now doesn't mean you have to stay as a face-to-face student. Some people like the face-to-face, some people like online. By the way, this way people are going today, there's a lot more demand for the online. The online class has been closed. Online class closed within about a week, and then I pushed the numbers up and I let more people come in, and then that closed. So I said, well, I'll just let them come into this class. And so if you're in the face-to-face class, but it's okay. It's okay. You can still be online. Textbook is given here. This textbook is, I will follow it pretty closely. I will do a lot of work from the textbook. The textbook is not one of those $200 textbooks, okay? That's the thing I like about it. You can get this textbook from the publisher. Well, the publisher is Maruch, I think that's called. That's Maruch Publishing. And if you go to their website, you can rent a one semester version of the ebook for a very high. Come in if you would like. You need to come in? Close the door. Okay. So you can, and that's pretty. It's pretty reasonable. For those of you who are going to take the advanced class, we will use the same textbook, but that's usually only offered in the. Let's see. This is the fall. Okay, so it's offered in the fall. I'm teaching the advanced now. So you have to go to the publisher if you want the ebook. Otherwise, you get the hard copy book. And I'm learning to use ebooks. I grew up with hard copy, so it took me a long time to get used to teaching classes online. But now I'm getting used to it. By college policy, I cannot touch your personal computer. Okay? I cannot fix it. You have your personal information on there. If you leave a flash drive here, I cannot open that flash drive and see what's on it so I can get it back to you. Maybe you'll put your name on the outside of it and that might get it back to you better, or just don't leave it here. But I'm not allowed to go perusing through it. After a while, we'll just nuke them and give them away, but I can't touch your computer. Classes meet Friday. Final exam schedule is that. Okay. Here's the everybody and his cat wants to put something special into the syllabus, so we end up with a syllabus that's 12 or 13 pages. A syllabus I've always thought should be 1 page. Keep it short, sweet, to the point. So the syllabus is basically just, you don't have to make excuses if you go past the due date. I care, but I don't care. If you go past the due date, you go past the due date. If you go past the cutoff date, it shuts off. It won't let you turn it in. I typically, on the last day of class, the last week of class, if one of them shuts off, I will typically let you turn in one that is shut off even. So, you know, I bend over backwards pretty much. I just don't want to get them all on that last day. Okay, I'm going to get the correct syllabus out there. Okay, well, go to this. Okay. So here we are, and you probably want to see the modules. The first thing I'm going to show you is in the modules. This is where our course essentially is. And I wrote this, I've gone through it. Okay. Now, down at the very end, all the way to the bottom, the very last module says recorded lectures. Now, what do you think you're going to find there? Links to the recorded lectures, yes. And so if you open the recorded lectures, this the first one that's in there is the one that tells you how to download and install SQL Server software. If you click it, it will go to this one that will give you the page. There you get to see my lovely picture. So if I'm doing it from home, I typically will turn on my video. Here I don't have video, and so they'll bring me a video camera over, but it doesn't do me any good because I can't show you anything on the board because the video camera won't pick it up on this whiteboard. And if you click it, it'll play. It's got audio, and you get to see my screen. So this is how you download and install SQL Server. Oh, it's about an hour or so, I believe. And there will be, you will find the various videos there. Okay, let's go ahead and install SQL Server, since that's our goal for today. On your computer, you're going to be installing SQL Server. And if you use a different computer, you'll have to install SQL Server there also. Because this SQL Server will be on the machine. We're not using a networked version. Now, SQL Server is designed to run on a network, but they don't give me a network for this class. I wish they did, but what I need is a network with a server, a real server that has an external IP address. Yeah, right, like they're going to give me that. Because if it's got an external IP address, that means it can be hacked from outside. You can't see these machines from outside of campus. Oh well. So we're going to have to install it, and you will take it home and install it yourself. Now, if you have a flash drive, it's a good idea to make copies of these files and that way you don't have to sit there at home. Most of the time your home network is slower than the one here at school. And so if you copy them, carry them home on the flash drive, then you can just install them without bogging down your home network. Okay. I'm not gonna play this module. I'm just gonna go through it. Any questions at this time before I go? Yes, ma'am. What's your name? Hamna. Sure. We're using SQL Express Edition. Express Edition is essentially the student edition. Now, do me a favor. Go ahead and download it onto your desktop computer, and then just port it over on a flash drive to your. That'll. Oh well. I got one you can borrow. Yeah, you can get one. Yeah, wait till you get the. You got them all on there already?
No.
Well, go ahead and we'll put them on there, and then you can swap it back and forth. Is somebody beeping at me here? Everybody happy in my. Let's see, somebody's chatting. Okay. Recorded lectures question. Okay, Scott, you'll have to ask me a question in a complete sentence because I don't know what recorded lectures question mark means. They are found at that last module. Get back to me and give me a little bit more information. Okay. If I were following this, I'm going to do what it tells me to do. And basically, I'm going to go ahead and minimize that. I'm going to go to my Google, whatever your favorite web browser is. I'm going to go to Microsoft. SQL Server Express 2017 is what I'm searching for. SQL Express 2017. And here it is. Quick download and install. No, that I accidentally got suckered into an ad. There it is. I want the Microsoft one. I don't want somebody else's where they're going to try to sell me advertising. Are you doing okay? Are you? Oh, okay. Come on. So I want the one that says Microsoft from the official Microsoft site there. Okay. Now it says download, right? And you'll assert that one, and it will download. And the file that you will get will be this guy right here, SQL Server 2017 SSEI-EXPR. It's a little bitty file. It's what, 5,000 kilobytes, half a megabyte, nothing much. Okay, basically that's just the little downloader. And when I get done with this next step, I can throw that away. I can delete that. I'm not going to use it for anything. So once I get this downloaded, it'll only take that a couple of seconds to download. Take this guy and I'll execute him. Yes. Another instance is already running. Where? There. Okay, so I will execute him. I was practicing before the class. Execute him, yes. Now, when he comes up, I'm going to have three options. My options are basic, custom, and this is the one I want. I want download media. We're going to download the installation file. Now, that first file that we did, that just downloads this little downloader. Okay, it's just a little app that its job is to download the rest of it. It's a hook, if you want. Sometimes it's called a hook if it were a virus, but Microsoft stuff is virus as far as I'm concerned. Okay, so we're going to select download media. There. Now we don't want to do we can install from here, but I'm going to say download media. Okay, which package would you like to download? You want to download the Express Advanced. 710 megabytes. That's about 3/4 gigabyte or close to it. Okay. You may select where you want to put it. I suggest you put it someplace on your desktop. Now, you don't need to keep this file either. This is just the installation stuff. It's kind of nice if you keep it, but you don't have to. And then once you have selected the Express 710 megabytes and said where you want it to be saved, you're going to click download. I am not going to click download because I already have it. And you wait a few minutes and you will get this file. SQL XPR ADV Advanced X64ENU. Do I have anybody that has the Windows 7? Anybody online with Windows 7? If you are one of those people kind of like myself that doesn't change until you have to, with Windows 7, you will have to download the version 2012 of the software. If you got Windows 10, you're good to go. While we are here, the next thing we're going to do, so we've downloaded that file, we've got that file, and now we're going to look for one more, and I'm going to look for Microsoft, C-R-O-S-O-F-T, SSMS. That is SQL Server Management Studio. You can find it that way, but SSMS. This takes us to another screen. It takes us to we want Microsoft.com. And right there, download SSMS 18.2. By the way, I give you these URLs in that recording. I post the URLs there. So go here and you'll click download SQL Server Management Studio, download him, and you get another file. Pretty much done with that. And that's this one right there, SSMS Server Management Studio Setup Questions. Now, if you didn't follow that, I will have these. You can come over here and copy these to your flash drive. Or a flash drive. I think I have a flash drive in my pocket. I might pack someplace. Okay. Questions? Any of my online pajaritos? Okay, I see. Wait a minute. I got somebody's chatting here. Chat. Just a minute. Let me see that. I have Windows 8.1. Okay. It says it worked. Is there any problem? No, if it works, it's fine. Somebody's asking the Windows 8.1. If it worked, great. Okay. And I have a question here. Hannah, did you have a question? Yeah. How do you get what? From Microsoft. So you're trying to download the SSMS. You have to do another search. It's a different web page. This one is search for SQL Server. No, that's SQL Server, isn't it? SSMS. So you want to search for this word right there, Microsoft SSMS. That's SQL Server Management Studio. And you want version 18.2. I think that's the only one. You have to really look for one that's older than that because that's the most modern one. SQL Server is not like Access where you've got everything in one package. SQL Server, you have the database engine and you have the Management Studio. Management Studio will run independent, either one will run independently of the other. They just won't work unless both of them are running. They won't do much for you. So once we download that, and now we're moving along. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to install the server engine. I'm going to double click the SQL Express. That's the one that's 3/4 gig. You can delete the SQL server. Every time I do, I end up having to download again. So yes, I believe that the extracted files are just a temporary. You'll be able to delete all of these files. I recommend you just kind of keep them around someplace and then delete them at the end of the semester. There really isn't any point in keeping them the rest of your life. They'll be obsolete because the SQL Server changes a lot. Okay, so it's getting ready. This is about a 20-minute install. Now you're free to take your files. You're free. You can copy my files if you want to, or you can take them home, and most of the time we're going to spend about the next 20 to 25 minutes sitting here watching it run, as we are now. Okay. I knew it, because you'll sit here and you'll swear that it's not. The other point about installers and SQL. SQL likes to be the only thing running, and the installer, it's typically best if you're not playing a video game or something else on your computer. It doesn't take that long. Okay, we're going to do the first one, the new SQL Server standalone installation. By the way, if you make a mistake, listen carefully, please, everybody. If you make a mistake in the installation, do not come back in and reinstall over the other one, because you will end up with 2 of them installed and then 3 of them installed, and you'll have names and you won't know which one is which. So you have to uninstall, and uninstall means you go to the control panel and everything that says SQL Server on it, you uninstall it. And then you can start over. But just simply reinstalling does not uninstall old ones. Okay, new server standalone. This doesn't work. Database typically does not like reinstalling unless you completely delete it. You doing okay? Everything okay? Am I talking too fast? 2017. Okay, well, you can stop downloading it. I mean, it's okay. You can just delete that file and go to 2017. If you haven't installed it, you can just delete it. Okay, you have to accept the license terms. If you don't accept the license terms, you're not going to get very far. You're supposed to read it, but I'm not going to read it. Now, wait a minute. I might stop us here. Okay, if you are at home, I forgot to tell you this, if you are at home, before you start the install process, restart your computer, go from a clean start, because if it's been a week or 2 since it's been restarted, they'll tell you right here, it'll stop you and say you have to restart, which is kind of a bummer because that means you have to go through it all again. I'm glad it didn't do it to us here. I get a warning on the Windows firewall. I'm going to ignore it. And I'm going to go next. This is going to tell me what it's going to install. Basically, I just let it, and I just take what it says it's going to do, take the defaults. If I want to change the directories, if there's some reason I'm changing directories, that's fine. I see you're recording. You don't have to. This is being recorded. I mean, it's up to you. I'm not telling you you can't, but I am recording this. But go ahead if you want to. If you want to change your installation, I typically don't. I just say next. So I've taken pretty much the defaults here. Okay, make a note of the name of it, SQL Express. Well, that's pretty straightforward. this is the directory that it's going to install in. I'm going to say next. So we haven't had any decisions to make. We've just taken the defaults. Again, this one we can, okay, here's one where we can make some changes. Are you installing on your personal computer or the Collin College, where am I teaching at this moment? I teach at so many different places. I don't know, I have to write it on my hand where I am. At Collin College machine, then you want to have your startup type for SQL Database Engine, the first one. You want the startup type to be automatic for these machines here. Now, if you're on your computer at home, your computer, your box, you probably would prefer to change that startup type to manual. Right? Because on these computers, when we start them, we want the database come on, because that's the only thing these computers are doing is database. But if you're going to be surfing the web and you like it when your battery lasts a little bit longer, that database engine will really eat your memory and your processor and your battery. So it's best if you turn it off when you're not using it. I'm going to leave this one set to, I guess I'm going to set this one to manual just to demonstrate it. If you set it to automatic, it just comes on. It stays on, and they'll take these disks out, and then of course it goes off when they turn the machine off. And I'm going to say next. Okay, important one now. Important one. Authentication mode. Most of the time, an SQL server is dedicated. It's a dedicated server. It lives in the tech. It's very seldom you find a SQL server out in an open lab like this, because they're usually too valuable. So they're usually behind that locked door. There's some of them. But you don't let people get to your machine, because if you sit down at this machine and you're logged into Windows, you are also logged into the SQL server. This is not really secure, is it? If I set the authentication mode to Windows authentication mode only, that means that nobody else can log into the server remotely. You have to be physically sitting at the table. Well, we're going to be simulating remote login. So we're going to set it to mixed mode. Mixed mode means SQL Server authentication. That means that you have a username and a password on the server that is different from the Windows user. Okay. Now you would be able to connect to the SQL server remotely. So this server might be in New Zealand someplace, and you could connect to it through TCP/IP and administer it. Now I have to give a password for the system administrator. And what did I tell you to give it? Wasn't it Blue Sky or something like that? Was it Blue Sky? I think it was like BLB1. I forget what I gave it. Okay. Okay, capital B L U E, capital S K I E, I think. Okay. It does have, I think it has to have a 1, yeah. Yeah, I think it was B1, that's L U E S K I E. It has to be 8 characters. It has to have uppercase, lowercase, digit, and special character, 3 out of 4 of those. So I had to have either a 1 or a special character. Confirm the password, B-L-U-E-S-K-I. I don't really care what password you use. I don't care if you forget it, because since we have mixed mode, that means that if I sit down at the box, I am the administrator. I don't have to log in with that password. If I just log in using Windows, I can change that password. Okay. The current user, this is the current user. So if you are the current user at home, that Windows user will be the administrator of SQL Server. Okay, if you don't do this, It's kind of a pain in the butt later because you won't be able to use them. Okay, next. Except this one, it's going to install, this is going to install things like, I think Python and some other stuff here. Next. Consent to install, there's Python. So you have to say, okay, accept. Next. I think we're going here. No, wait a minute. Okay. Okay, questions at this point. So we should be running as, you guys, you're gonna be sitting here watching it install for a while. And if you, anybody that needs the files, if you didn't get the files downloaded, see me, I'll give you the files. And let's see. Let me check my. I always try to remember to check my chats. Everybody, all the online people, okay? Amanda, you still with us?
Yes, I am.
Oh, okay. Well, I just want to make sure everybody could hear me. Let's see. Amanda, you are in the which class are you officially in?
I'm officially in the face-to-face class.
Okay, that's fine. Did you see the announcement that I sent? The test announcement?
I think so. I'm not sure
Okay.
on that one.
Anybody logged in that has a mic that is in the WWW class?
I am Dr. Smith, Martin Champion.
Okay, I see you. Did you see the announcement?
Yes, sir, I did.
Okay, that's great. I just, because I have the classes merged, that means I just see you as one big class. I just needed to make sure I was pushing it out. And as I make the first assignments, I'll probably go ahead and, well, the first assignment will be get this up and running. I guess I'll probably go ahead and you'll be able to do the, I don't typically make the quizzes as an assignment. The quizzes are assigned. I don't put a due date on them because the quizzes grade themselves and they're just there. They're kind of busy work that shows that you're here and you're doing something. They are necessary to have in there for certification of the class as an online class. So they are part of the grade. If you want to do those all at the last minute, that's fine with me because the computer grades them, or the system grades them. I don't really care. I don't say that you have to, I don't say that there's any set due date. I don't cut them off. You can take them as many times as you want. So it's not like they're a big deal. The assignments are a little more difficult. So each module will have an assignment. I don't think there's an assignment on module 2, which is installing this stuff. While we're letting this thing play, go ahead. What's that? Put the files on there. Okay. Technically, I'm not supposed to touch that, but we'll. Nah. Yeah. Let's see this one. Copy. Let's see, this is yours right here. No. I don't see it. Let me see if I'm in there. I heard the chirp. There we go, USB drive. Okay. One time I took somebody gave me their disk, or I found a disk in the classroom, a flash drive, and I stuck it in the computer, and it was a couple, and we got to see a lot more of them than we really wanted to see. So I'm kind of careful about that nowadays. But let's see. If you look in here, I give you a little blurb about how I got into teaching database. I've been teaching database for a long time. It's kind of my niche in this world. I am retired. I'm a retired college professor. I just teach when I want to. And so I'm here because I like teaching, and this is the only class I've got today. On Wednesday I'll stay around after class. On Mondays I typically don't. On Wednesdays I have a class later on in the late afternoon, so I'll just be hanging around on Wednesdays. So if you need to see me, Wednesday afternoon is a good time to make an appointment for tutoring help, whatever. What else? I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording. If I pause the recording, we won't have to. Let's see, I'm going to resume the recording for a minute. We're not quite done with the installer yet, but I wanted to go to here, and I'm going to go to the modules. Our first module that we're going to do will be module 3. We're going to be creating tables. And let's see, do I have a quiz under this one? Module 2 lab assignments. No, that's not published. I think I have a quiz here somewhere. Okay, here we go. The syllabus quiz and the Dropbox practice. So there's 3 assignments. No, this one's not published. There's 2 assignments, a quiz and a practice assignment. They are very easy. Basically, if you will do these for me, I will be happy, because that will give me an entry into the grade book for you. And that means that you will not get dropped on the census date. If I haven't seen you, and I know I have seen you because you have done something, so that means that you've heard what I said, and you've gotten the syllabus, and you've acted on something by clicking a couple of little buttons in there. You don't even have to pass the quiz. You just have to take the quiz, do it, and then you can go back later and make 100. So please do these syllabus quiz and the Dropbox practice. Dropbox practice, you're just turning in something, some kind of a file to me, an SQL file. I even forgot what it is. It's a program that will run, but you just type it, or you can copy and paste it for that matter. But I want you to turn in an SQL program. And this is how we do it, okay? And so I want to see those 2 things happen. Amanda.
I tried to do the Dropbox practice, but it said it was locked out.
It said it
So
was locked out. Thank you for telling me that. When did you try to do that, Amanda? I don't have the speaker on in here. I'm talking to someone online.
it was earlier this morning.
Earlier this morning, and it said it was locked out. Okay. Well, let me go take a peek at it here and see if I can figure out why. Dropbox practice. Oh, yes, I see why. due June 11th, huh? Let me edit these guys. I guess I have these due because for the summer. And thank you for basically, I don't care so much about what create database. This stuff is, I used to, go ahead, somebody says. I used to use this code, but I don't use it that much anymore. I guess I'll change it. Okay, yeah, here's why it's locked out right there. Okay, you should be able to do it now, Amanda, and everybody else should be also.
Thank you very much.
If you find anything else like that that's locked out, let me know. Send me a Canvas message. How did you do the raise your hand thing, Amanda? I don't see that one in
I clicked the participants box and then it's
participants. Okay.
one of the buttons right below.
Well, I got participants. I guess because since I'm the teacher, I don't get a participant. I'll look at one of the. I'll have one of the students log in. Typically, I have a student in the classroom log in to Zoom, and they'll monitor that they can always hear me. Okay. Okay, got that. Now we should about. Good. Okay, we are complete. Okay, so mine is complete. Yours should be also roughly. And you check. I check and make sure that I have green green check boxes all the way down. Everybody else complete? Why? Yeah, if it says you require a restart, it's very, very promiscuous about telling you to restart. You don't really have to restart. You'll restart when you get finished. So we'll just shut it down and restart. Everything will restart when we finish. So we're not going to do anything. You should restart before we start creating anything, but that's fine. I would like to check one thing. I'm going to go to the, okay. I suggest on yours at home under Windows setting, excuse me, Windows, under the Windows administrative tools, under services, Windows system, where is it? Under services. Well, I saw it up there a minute ago. Oh, here it is, services. Okay, under Windows Administrative Tools, services, I suggest you put an icon to that someplace where it's easy to get to. Okay, my services. Did you see how I got to that? Yes? Say yes or no? No? Okay, I'll do it again. I'm going to go to my Windows icon. I'm going to scroll down to Windows Administrative Tools. Under Windows Administrative Tools, I'm going to go down to Services. Now, I recommend you right-click him and put him on your Quick Start menu or your desktop someplace. Okay, I'm going to click that and open it. I'm going to scroll down till I see SQL Server under S. Okay, SQL Server, SQL Express. That's the one that you're interested in. The rest of them you don't need to worry about. I wish I could just put a icon to this one. I don't know how to do it. I suspect there's probably some kind of an application you can get, a macro application that will let you do that. But basically, I just go to this guy right here. Now, notice some things that it's showing me here. Number one, I'm gonna expand this. SQL Server, SQL Express. It's the server. It says it is running. That's good. It says its startup type is manual. Now here is where you can change it. If you don't want it to be manual, or if you don't have it as automatic, you can change it. You can right click it and or double click it, I guess. Double click it and change it from startup type to manual. You can change it to automatic. You can change it to disabled if you want to, but that wouldn't help you a whole lot. So if you want to change back and forth between manual and automatic, if you want to stop at the end of the day, for the same reason you don't leave your car running in your driveway. Wouldn't it be convenient just to walk out and your car's already running and you don't have to start it? But you don't do that. And the reason you don't do that is because it uses resources. This guy's using resources. He's drinking your battery. He's drinking your memory. He's slowing down your network and probably promoting polyester pants and things like that. So we'll stop him. So I say, stop. Do you want to stop? Yes. That's all I have to do. He stopped. When I want to start him now, if I stop him, that means that before I can use my my database, I have to say start. But it doesn't take him 2 or 3 seconds to start, and he's not sitting there drinking my power and my battery at night. So if I'm just surfing the web, or I'm not thinking about database, because I don't think about database all the time, turn it off. Now, if I'm going just to get a sandwich or something, I'm probably leave it running. But okay, enough of that. Like I say, the services is important. The rest of these SQL things you don't need to worry about. Some of them are marked as disabled. Don't change them. The only thing that you need to change is the SQL Express SQL Server. Change it from automatic to manual, or if you prefer, from manual to automatic, where you want it. These in our computer systems, we will leave as automatic. So I'm going to change this one back to automatic here, because this is my computer. On my home computer, it's in my backpack, it's manual. Okay, we're done. We can close this. We can close this. We can close it all. One more thing that we want to we'll go back to our install files. We're going to get to that SSMS, Server Management Studio. This one will be a faster install. Double click him. I'm going to go through this pretty fast. It is in the recording. So this is a second recording. I'm going to go through it quickly. I say, my computer will run quickly. I hope I'm recording. I'm sorry, the question was, who's asking? Yes, ma'am. SQL Server is a Microsoft product. It will not run on a Macintosh. Okay. That said, there are some applications for people who are Macintosh gurus, know how to partition their Mac to boot under Windows. If you know how to do that, then you can load it into that partition. But yes, it has to be under Windows. And I have had some students have had problems doing that. I suspect they weren't sure. They're kind of like me in Macintosh. I don't know much about a Macintosh. So, although I've used them, I just don't know a whole lot. Okay, let me say yes. I'm gonna let that make changes, and it's Sure is slow. I seem to remember this. This one goes a little bit faster. Okay, all I have to do with this one, it tells me where it's going to install it, and if I like it, that's fine. I just hit install. I don't think I have to do make a whole lot of decisions here. It's going to take care of everything, I believe. So this is the graphical user interface. Now, not everything we do in database involves SQL. SQL is a structured query language, and it is the programming language of database. The graphical user interface, like you do in Access. How many of you have taken the Access class? Oh, only one unlucky person, huh? Oh, we sit around and knock Access all the time. It's it's perfectly good database. It's just it allows you to do some things that you shouldn't do, and a lot of the times the textbooks will take off doing things and starting in ways that database shouldn't start there. I'm thinking of the 13.0 ITSW, I think, 1307 class. Anyway, I've never taught it, or I have avoided teaching it because I don't like the textbook. So this guy's just going to run, but this is the graphical user interface. Now here at this graphical user interface, I can create tables. I can do about anything at the GUI, the graphical user interface, that I can do with SQL, sort of. SQL, though, is a much more powerful language because SQL will end up being embedded into web pages. And things like that. So if you're going to be programming a database for a web page access, you're going to have to use SQL. If you're going to have a slow link, i.e. my database SQL server is out on a oil platform someplace and they have a slow computer link, I'll have to use SQL because the graphical user interface won't be fast enough to update. So I'll have to use SQL. So everybody that's working in database should learn SQL. That said, you don't always use it. Sometimes you just want to create a quickie table and you just use the graphical user interface. We won't be afraid to use the graphical interface, but this class is not about the graphical user interface. So I can see all the data that are in the database. I can go in and change them. I can add data and just using that just like it were Access, because SQL Server is Access's big brother. Well, come on, Mr. Management Studio. Okay, I've been threatening to go to the bathroom. So let's see, it is 12:09 and it is time for us to, I have a chat. Okay, hi, Joshua took Access. Okay, well, I don't know whether to say I'm sorry to hear that or not. Actually, it's not bad if you took Access, that's fine. Did you guys have Ann Cervantes? Was Dr. Cervantes your teacher? Scott says, yep. Okay, and Josh. If you see her, tell her I said hi. Okay, I'm going to pause the recording and then I'm gonna run to the bathroom. I will, and you may also. Recording. Okay, I told you to restart and we ignored that. And now we're ready to go now. Okay. So follow me on this. It is recorded. Somebody keeps texting me and it's driving me nuts. Okay. Now to start this one, I really would make a icon on my desktop for this or wherever you put it. It is under Microsoft Server Tools 18. Microsoft Server Tools 18. It says new on it. And SQL Server is here also. There's nothing in here that we need, but under the 18 is where we will find our Server Management Studio. Okay. It will start faster once it's up and running. It's a little slow right at first. Then it gets the memory loaded. It'll go faster than this when you get it going. You don't have to sit and wait as long. So it puts some stuff into memory, and I think it tries to leave it there. There we go, and we're just about there. We're just about there. There we go, yay! Now, basically this is the connect to server page, and the first time we connect, we are going to connect using Windows authentication. Using Windows authentication means we are connecting as the server administrator. Okay, so I'm going to say connect, just plain, Windows. From the rest of the time, we're going to be using SQL Server authentication. This first time, we're going to use Windows authentication connect because okay, first one, I go to security. Go to the security tab. I'm going to create a user. Go to security, open it up. You can look at under logins. Logins. I'm going to create a user. There's the user SA, that is the system administrator. If I were remote, I would log in as SA. I am the system administrator because I logged in as the Windows user. So I'm the head honcho of this thing now and so are you if you're logged in as Windows. I'm going to create a login. I'm going to right click and go to new login. Okay. Under the login, I'm going to make it as SQL Server authentication for this login. SQL, go ahead. You don't have it. What does it say? It says cannot connect. Okay, if you cannot connect to it, that means that your SQL Server is not running. So you go to the your SQL Services, Windows Administrative Tools, the Services under S, and then scroll down to SQL Server, and then on PQRS, SQL Server. Notice it's under automatic, but it is not showing as running. Okay, so we're going to go to start. I don't know why it didn't start automatically. So you go start, and now you'll be able to connect. Anybody else? So if you cannot connect, when you go to connect, if you get an error message that says it cannot find it, that usually means that your SQL Server is not running. So it should have started if you set it to automatic. That's real common. Okay. SQL, my login name. My login name is SW Smith. When I talk about the login and I say SW Smith, I mean the login that we created here. Yours does not have to be SW Smith, but when I say SW Smith, that's the one I'm talking about. Okay, it's usually your first initial last name or however you want to do it. If you have a shortened version that you use, that's fine. So it's your call. It cannot have any spaces in it. Password. You're going to have to give yourself a password. Your password must contain uppercase, lowercase, digits, and special characters, 3 out of 4 of those. I'm not going to tell you what your password has to be. You can change it if you go back in as even if you lose it. Okay, we're going to check enforce password policy. We're going to uncheck enforce password expiration because we don't want it to expire and kick us out in the middle of the semester. Question, ma'am. It says fail to connect. That means that your database engine is not running. Go to your services and start the database engine. You don't have to change it from automatic. Just right click it or double click it, and one of your options will be start. Do you see that? Click start. That's just that. I should have gone ahead and shown that, leaving mine off. Lots of times if it's on automatic and you stop it, it won't start again until you restart the computer. Okay. So I've created another user. I've given that user a password. My user's name is SW Smith. Whenever I say SW Smith, I mean your user. Password is, well, you have to remember your password. Oh, well. I'm going to say okay. I'm going to come back to this. Now, I'm going to go up here at the very top of this guy where it says, no, I'm not going to do that yet. No, stop that. I'm going to go up here. I'm going to close the logins and the security tab. Close logins and security. I'm going to go to databases. I'm going to right-click the top one where it says databases, and I'm going to go new database. Are we at new database? What? Okay, where are we here? I don't see your login. Right-click logins, right-click the login, new login. Give it a name, first initial, last name, maybe. Click SQL Server Authentication. Give it a password. Confirm the password. No, you have to give it, yeah, okay. You're typing, now confirm the password. Change enforce password expiration, uncheck that one, and say okay. Now up there on databases, right click databases, new database. Okay, everybody at new database. Are we there? Are we there? Yes, yes, yes.
I have a problem.
You got to stop me.
It doesn't have anything to do with you. I'm waiting
Okay.
for some admin rights. It's a company laptop, so
Okay,
no worries. I won't watch this again.
okay. This will be recorded. Okay, database. I want you to name your databases this way. I didn't tell you what your user had to be named, but this databases I want to be named like this. I want you to name one database. We're going to make 2 databases. One of the databases I want to be named Scratch, SCRATCH_DB. Scratch _DB. This is going to be like Scratch paper. This is going to be our practice database. You can trash this one all you want to. Anytime you feel like trashing something, go trash the Scratch database. It's like Scratch paper. Now the owner, I want you to set the owner. The owner is SW Smith. But I mean your user, the one you just created in the last step. That's SW Smith. Mine's SW Smith. Yours is different, okay? So the owner is your user. You own it. Now, by the way, there's, I talk about these files in the recording. I'm gonna keep going here because we're running out of time. Okay, it's gonna create the database. Everybody happy? One more database. I'm gonna do the same thing again. Database, new database. I'm gonna create this one. This one is named AP_DB. Important that it be named that. The owner is the same as the one you made the last one. Mine is SW Smith. Yours is your user. So two databases, ScratchDB and APDB. APDB is accounts payable. That is our working database. Okay. One more step here, and then we'll be ready to go. I can close the databases. I'm gonna go back to the security tab, go back to the logins tab, SW Smith or your username. I'm gonna right click that and go to properties of the user. Properties of the user. Now I need to set this user, are you guys with me? Yes? Okay, I need to set this user's properties. The default database cannot be master. It has to be ScratchDB, and the default language is, this is the first time I've ever had to set that, US English. The default database for the user, SW Smith, is ScratchDB. It means that when you log in, that's where you land. That's where you go. And say, okay. Yes, ma'am. Okay, problem is what? Okay. ScratchDB, this is, what is the problem? Oh, it's already, you already have one. It already exists.
Is it?
There it is right there.
Oh.
So properties. Yeah, it already exists. Owner is, okay.
Delete this one here.
We'll just delete it. Okay, now do it again. Databases, new database, yeah, and make the owner be you. Okay, so we have set our default database for our user to ScratchDB and that. Now there's one more step that we need to do. We don't have to do it right now. You can see it on the recording, on the earlier recording, where we're going to run a file that's going to create our AP_DB, and it'll create all the tables in there. We don't have to do that today since we're running out of time. I don't think I'm going to do it. We don't have to have that for another week or so, a couple of weeks, when we're going to start using it. So we're going to first use, we're going to be using Scratch right at first. Now, one thing I'm fussy about, several things I'm fussy about, but one, I want those databases named correctly, because if you don't name them correctly, if you're not using them correctly, when you hand me a program that it's supposed to be running on the AP database, but you have it running over in Scratch, I won't be able to run it without changing it. And so I want it to run on my computer. Just when you hand me a program, I want to just open it and run it. Now, the fact of the matter is that I usually have to mess around with students' programs a little bit. Okay, I'm used to it. Believe me, you know, I've been doing this for a little while. So it's not unusual that I have to fix a program. But as we get to it, when you start a program, you're going to say at the beginning of the program which one of those databases you're using. Remember, Scratch is like scratch paper. AP is the tables that are representing our production database. So that's the difference between them. And you're raising your hands at me. Okay. What's it saying? Oh, okay. Yeah. Let's see. I know what the problem is. I'm going to go ahead and finish and end the recording, and I'll come back to you because it's what's happened is you've got a couple of files that are left laying around in there, and we'll fix them. Anybody else? Other questions? I don't see any chats. Online people, you guys doing okay? I'm about to wrap up here. I hear somebody clicking.
We're good.
Okay. I'll see if I can turn the what's up? Is somebody chatting? I do see a chat. We good? We cool. For clarification's sake, my brother is wondering whether or not being on Zoom is mandatory or not. Okay, it is a good idea to be on Zoom during class hours so that you can clarify whatever, but you can get the you'll get the recording. I will have it up and posted. So I'll have this recording posted by the end of the day, right? But that said, it's a good idea to attend, but if you can't, you can't. Online classes say, I cannot say on an online class that you have to be here at 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock. Most of the time I will finish by 11:50. Today I didn't. Today I ran over a little bit, but usually I will be done by 11:50. Okay. Okay, I'm going to end the recording. I'll keep Zoom up. Lots of times what I'll do is I'll do what I call bounce Zoom. In other words, shut it down, end the meeting, and then restart it again for anybody that wants to ask me a question. If I restart it, it starts the file processing. So I've got a lot of processing time to do on the file. So I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting now, if that's good, and I'm going to end the meeting even if it isn't good. Goodbye, and I will see you on Wednesday. And you'll find this recording under that under the module that says recorded lectures.